Another Wednesday with your fertility specialist. On behalf of ALPS Hospitals, we love to say a very big thank you to our dear viewers. Thank you for liking our post, thank you for sharing, and thank you for always staying glued to your screen. I'm one of your hosts, Ruth Ogogo, and I'm excited to be on this show with you today. So, today we're talking about embryo freezing. As a matter of fact, we've been on this topic, fertility preservation, and there's just a lot that it keeps unraveling with every session. And so I'm sure you're set to get so much insight into fertility preservation with respect to embryo freezing. Okay, so to give us great insights, we'll be having Mr. Stephen Olarinde with us today. We're having with us today. He would give us so much insight into embryo freezing. So, for the sake of someone watching for the first time and you do not know who Mr. Stephen is, he's an embryologist, a senior embryologist at that. He's also the head of embryology at Alps Hospitals. Wow, good to have you, Mr. Steve.
Thank you for having me.
So, viewers, please, as we get started, feel free to drop your thoughts, your comments, and your questions in the comment section, and we'll definitely attend to them appropriately. Once again, share this link with someone right now. Call up someone right now so they're able to get the thoughts. Yeah. So we're talking about embryo, we're talking about freezing. We might just have someone that might be wondering what embryos are. So maybe you should tell us a little about what embryos are.
So, embryos are basically the product of the fertilization of an oocyte and a sperm. So, when
Okay.
fertilization happens, a zygote is formed. Then, the development of that zygote is what you refer to as embryo. It could
Oh,
be in eight cell, could be a morula, or it could be the highest grade of embryo development, which is the blastocyst stage. So,
okay.
that is basically what we call embryo.
Oh, okay. So hope you understood what he just said. He just told us what embryos are. Now we're coming back to what embryo freezing is, because that's the main thing we're talking about today. So what is embryo freezing?
So embryo freezing is a process of subjecting the embryo to through ultracoolling rapid processes
Okay.
and then preserving them.
This is coming from an
So
embryologist.
by that, let me break it down.
To come to our level.
It's not taking an embryo and putting it in the freezer. No.
Hmm.
So the embryo can be in different stages. Like I said, it could be the eight cell or the blastocyst, which is the highest grade. So if you're vitrifying this embryo, that is the embryo freezing is vitrification.
Okay.
So that is you take the embryos and you run them through cryoprotectant. So
Okay.
cryoprotectant has a way of preserving the integrity of these embryos, and then you store them in ultra cool process, like I mentioned. So this cryoprotectant protects the integrity of the embryos and prevents ice or crystal formation.
Okay.
So basically, what you're doing with freezing is like you're pausing the it's like you're pausing the development of an embryo, and
Okay.
then you're saving it.
Oh, okay, okay,
Yes.
okay. So you're placing it on
So
hold.
exactly like placing
Mm,
it on hold. You have an embryo fully developed. You just place it on hold, then you store. So you store them in a cryo tank.
okay,
Yes, we not fridge or anything. We're using a liquid nitrogen to
okay.
do
Because I
that.
was just going to ask, do you put ice block into the tank?
So you're using liquid nitrogen, and that's why we're saying ultra cool, because you're doing this at a temperature of minus 196
Oh,
degrees
wow. Mm,
centigrade.
that's really
So
cold.
you preserve those embryos for future use.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so hope someone understood that. So long and short, embryo freezing is not putting the embryo in the fridge; it's storing it in liquid nitrogen through their whole process that they do. I mean, that's their field. So we just know we're freezing the embryo. That's what we care about right now. Okay, so now we're talking about embryo freezing. Are there reasons why people would want to freeze their embryos? Because I know people will be watching and they're like, why do I really need to freeze my embryos? I mean, I want to get pregnant. Why are we talking about freezing embryos here?
So one of there are a lot of reasons why people can freeze their
Okay.
embryo.
Mm,
Yes, some could be from their own personal belief or bias or
okay.
what they want. For
Okay.
example, a woman that has a multifollicular response will
Okay.
produce a lot of oocytes. When you fertilize those oocytes, you have embryos. Now, surplus embryos. After at the end of the day, she has the number of embryo that you can transfer to her. Then
Mm,
there are also good quality of embryos left. So those people are in category that can freeze. You advise them that okay, instead of coming for a fresh heart treatment, IVF treatment from the beginning,
mm,
why not freeze these embryos? So later you can come back and take these embryos. So
mm.
for somebody that has surplus embryo, that is very important.
Okay.
You can
Okay.
freeze. Then for somebody that's in the course of an IVF treatment, probably maybe fell sick and could not undergo embryo transfer, that person, yes, you encourage them to freeze the embryo. So when they
Mm-hmm.
are healthy and they are fine, they can come back and take the embryo.
Okay.
Then there
Okay.
can be a scenario where for people with poor endometrium
Okay.
thickness, yes.
That's the
So
lining of the womb.
yes, exactly. So endometrium is basically the inner lining of the endometrium of the uterus.
Mm,
So when this lining is poor, the chances of getting pregnancy is actually low. So
mm.
for people that are observed to have poor environmental development, an option is to freeze the embryo. So
Why
when
do
the
prepare
and
them
then
well?
you prepare them well, exactly. So when
Mm,
the endometrium is properly prepared, you thaw the embryos and then you
put
transfer it
back.
back into them.
Okay.
Then another scenario where for those that you can give can freeze embryo,
Yeah.
for those that have high progesterone and estrogen in the system. So you can treat a patient and then before embryo transfer, the estrogen and progesterone
Progesterone.
test are the basic tests you
Yeah.
check to see the volume of these
Mm,
hormones in the system. So when they are high, you freeze those embryos, and there are some people that will place them the treatment you're doing for them. You're just doing the freeze all option treatment for those patients.
okay.
They fall into those, yes. So
Category.
freeze all option. So what you're doing is you're getting the
Retrieving the.
oocyte, you're treating, and the
Yes.
resulting embryos of the best quality, you're freezing them to transfer later
A fresh
to the
cycle.
over fresh cycle
Okay.
to the patient. Yes. So those are different categories of people that yes, you encourage them to freeze their embryo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there times
Then
that you.
some are people that they come and maybe social reason she's not ready to get pregnant yet.
Mm,
Have the eggs, have the sperms, treat and keep. When we're ready, we
okay.
come back. Yes,
And
just
get
our
them.
own personal. We come back get them. So when she's ready, she comes back. The
Get the
embryos are thawed and
embryos.
then placed back
Okay.
into.
So what of times when some people want to test. What of times when some people want to test some of their maybe okay maybe you they probably okay let me take it this way. Some people might have some conditions that they probably want to check.
Yes,
In
yes,
such
yes.
cases.
So another reason why I didn't explain is for those that are doing PGTA,
Oh, okay. What's
pre-genetic
PG?
testing.
Okay,
So for
okay.
those that are coming to for the hospital, for example, for it could be for different cases.
Hmm.
So we could have a scenario where there are sickle cell patients
Okay.
where you need to analyze these embryos. Husband is AS, wife is Yes.
Yeah.
There's a chance that the resulting baby could be of genotype SS sickle cell.
Mm.
So when you want to analyze these embryos to be sure, that's the
Yes.
PGT, like I'm saying,
Yes.
pre-genetic testing. So you freeze these embryos because you biopsy them, take
Mm.
them for analysis to check the genetic makeup of that embryo
Yeah.
before you now um, analyze which of the embryos of the best quality to actually give birth. That's one. Then
Mm.
for those that come in for what we call the sex selection, for
Okay.
those that probably they've had two or three kids that are girls
Mm.
and they want boys now. So when they come for those treatments, after is a very technical process and not
Mm.
is an advanced form of IVF treatment.
Okay.
Yes. So
Mm.
when they come for those processes, the embryos will be biopsied and frozen
Yes.
and
Okay.
analyzed. So it is from the result that you analyze that you can
Yeah.
identify, okay, this particular embryo is XX, that's girl.
Okay.
This one is XY, boy.
Okay.
This XX is normal. That's the
Mm.
chromosome are intact. There's no any
Yeah.
abnormality. This one
Mm.
is normal. So
Oh
yes, those
wow.
are scenarios where
Okay.
you freeze embryos again. Yes.
Oh wow. So see, viewers, we've seen a lot of reasons why people freeze embryos. So you shouldn't be worried when your fertility specialist is actually counseling you to freeze your embryos. If you have all the resources, why not embrace the opportunity to freeze your embryos if they are freezable? And yeah, as we go further, we'll know if all embryos are freezable. Because I'm sure there are some people that will say they want to freeze, and maybe they're telling them is it freezable or is not freezable. So well,
Mhm.
let's know. Are there times that you have embryos? Is it all embryos that are freezable? Because I know you've mentioned embryos and how they are generated, an
Okay.
egg fertilized with a sperm. Is it all embryos that people could actually freeze?
So not all embryos are freezable
Okay.
because if you're freezing embryo, you're looking at the quality of that embryo and you're looking at the ability of the embryo to survive the freezing process. So,
Okay.
very good quality embryos definitely will survive freezing. So
Okay.
far, the process is handled by an expert that is very efficient in it to survive freezing. But for the embryos that's not of very good quality, maybe there's fragmentation or the the embryo now, if you're analyzing in terms of quality, it's not of the highest grade. Maybe you're looking at the ICM, that's the inner cell mass. You're looking at the
Okay.
trophectoderm formation. All these things are parameters you look at for a day 5 embryo blastocyst to
Okay.
see whether it's freezable or not. For a day 3 embryo, that's 8 cell, you're looking at the sizes of the blastomere. You're looking at the morphology of the embryo, and you're looking
Okay.
out for fragmentation. All these things, the degree of fragmentation is what you're looking at. Some embryo fragmentation can be high as 50, 60,
Oh
eighty
wow.
percent
Mm.
So in those conditions, in those embryos, when you're looking at the quality is not great, subjecting them to that process is not always what you, because if you're freezing, what you're trying to achieve at the end is to have a viable embryo for
Embryo,
transfer. So
exactly.
if the quality is not great, of course, the what you have left is not great. So most times, what many fertility centers do is to freeze embryos of the highest quality, of course,
Okay.
so to boost the chances of that patient coming back for a frozen embryo transfer and the chances of probably getting pregnant and having life birth, which is
Yeah.
very key.
Okay, so yeah, so now you mentioned freezing embryos and the quality. Do all embryos actually so based on your experience over time, do all embryos survive freezing? Or how would you know the one that will possibly survive freezing?
So from the quality is one
Mm,
thing that you look out for. So for a D5 embryo, you look at the quality, then use that to screen them.
okay.
For a D3 embryo, you can be a little bit soft on it because the embryo is still developing.
Coming up.
Yes, you
Okay.
can be a bit soft in your criteria for looking out for this on the embryos that would survive freezing. They could be
Okay.
6 cell, they could be 8 cell.
Mm,
So you look out for all those things. The degree of fragmentation, if it's not much, yes. So most quality embryos, when you freeze them, they survive
survive
freezing.
freezing.
Yes,
Mm,
but the major thing is, will implantation happen and will
happen.
pregnancy
Mm,
happen? Because when you're putting that into consideration, all other is not about the just the embryo now. all other factors are coming into play, like the endometrium and other things.
Okay. Okay, so just so viewers, apparently there's a lot about embryo freezing that we're actually unraveling with Mr. Steven, and it's very good to know. Good egg, good sperm would result to hopefully a good embryo.
Very well.
Yeah, so you shouldn't be dealing with a bad sperm or bad egg and then be hoping for good embryos to freeze. Well, yes, miracles happen, but when it comes to the scientific aspects, you have to have all conditions
Yes.
under control.
Control. Yeah.
Okay, so how long can embryos be frozen?
Okay, so embryos can be frozen as long as possible.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Tell us
So,
something.
but different countries have different acts or laws
Okay.
that are guiding that. For
Yeah.
example, in the US, it's unlimited as
Oh,
long as
okay.
possible.
Mm.
In the UK, you have a duration of 10 years at first, but it's extendable.
Okay.
So whatever you want, so far the partners are coming in to give you consent to do that.
Consent. Oh,
In
okay.
India, it's 10 years. In some countries, it's less. So the major thing is embryo should be properly frozen. That's like
Mm.
done by the experts
Yeah.
and preserve at the appropriate temperature.
Okay.
Yes, that
Mm.
temperature must be constant to actually maintain the viability and stability of those embryos. So different laws from different country governs that, but embryos can be frozen for as long as possible. Whenever you're
Wow.
ready, you come back, you have your embryos taken.
Okay.
Yes, in history, there's been I think the highest embryo we've had 24 years. We've
Okay.
had 27 years.
Mm.
I've had 30 years, I think, which is the latest. That's for Timothy and Lydia,
Oh,
the
okay.
twins that were frozen in 1992
Yeah.
and were delivered in 2022.
Wow. So they've, in a way,
So
they've
that's
been
like 30
existing since
years. Yes,
1992, but
19.
they
So
eventually came into being.
exactly become
Wow.
babies and but
Yeah.
yes in 2022. So
Wow.
that's one of the history that's having.
Okay.
So that's the beauty of cryopreservation. So
Wow.
as
So
long
the
as
embryos
possible,
lasted for 30
30
years.
years,
Wow, that's a
yes.
lot.
So an embryo can even be older than the couples receiving it in countries, in
Yeah.
situation or countries where
Maybe they are
embryo
donated.
donation exactly is
Exactly.
allowed under strict
Hmm.
condition. Yes. So
Wow.
it can last as much as possible.
Oh, beauty of technology. Wow. Okay. So, are there any risk associated with embryo freezing? Because they will say anything that has pro also has
As cons.
cons.
Okay. So I can say no risks, but there are other external risks that you look out for.
Okay.
Definitely, embryo freezing is done by an expert, of course, not somebody this thing that is not a professional handles it because you
Yeah.
know how delicate and sensitive it
Okay.
is. If you understand the processes, you know it's a very sensitive process
Hmm.
because it involves a lot of things. It involves you in the equilibrium media, the vitrification media, then loading them on the straw before into your liquid nitrogen, then capping your vitrification straw, then
Hmm.
transfer into a goblet,
Hmm.
a cryocan, and then into finally into your tank. You can see all these
All
processes.
the embryology
So they are
jargons.
very technical, they are very, very, very technical. So once that is properly done,
Yeah.
yes, there are no side effects, but you cannot guarantee peace in the country like what is happening between Israel and Gaza, fights going on where hospitals may
Yeah.
be
Hmm.
targeted from casualty of war and all those things. The
Yeah.
fight going on in Ukraine. So yes, you can have your tanks all in good
All well
condition, but
preserved.
when
Yes.
there's
Such
an
disaster.
airstrike, flood, fire outbreak, all those are things that can come
Hmm.
and affect it. But
Yeah.
so that's why the if I'm looking at the disadvantage, it's not really a disadvantage with
Disadvantage,
the
except
embryo
all
effect, but it's like natural disasters and
that and all
unplanned
that.
events that
Events.
may happen
Hmm.
and actually affect what you've stored. So those are basically things that can affect it. If not, once the embryo is properly frozen and the temperature minus 196
Yeah,
maintained,
it is
and then the
maintained.
integrity of your storage tank is fine, of course, the embryo can last as much as possible.
Oh wow. So you see, viewers, there's nothing to worry. Embryos can be kept for as long as you want them until you're ready to have your embryos transferred either to you or to someone to help you carry, whichever way. But it's really amazing and it's really exciting to know that somebody could actually generate embryos now and then 30 years later.
Mhm.
I don't even know if people that even generated the embryos, we don't even know if they are still alive. It might have been a donated embryo,
Embryo, yeah.
or they might have been donated embryos. So there's just it's a beauty of preserving life, preserving the lineage of let me say of a couple. It's just like
Mm.
for instance, I can imagine people that are victim of all these disasters. Maybe they traveled and maybe the family lost all their kids, and then
So
at that
if
point maybe they don't even
maybe
have. Let's assume that they have frozen embryos. They
yes,
can
they can
consider
always
they
come
can
back.
have biological
And you
offspring.
know, for the world now, where
Mm,
for social reasons people want to get married, but they're not ready to have a baby. So
yeah.
instead of waiting where your oocyte is aging, and then
Yes.
your husband is aging and other things comes in, so
Yes.
at the young age you can actually come undergo an IVF treatment. Your
Yeah.
eggs oocytes are collected, eggs are collected, treated,
Yes.
and embryos are stored.
Stored.
Yeah, so
Hmm.
when you are ready or you're done with the career thing,
Yeah.
and you feel okay, now you want to have your kids, you just come back, and then these embryos can be transferred back into you.
Okay, that's so lovely. So, well, this is me just thinking. Some people might think that they could just pick this embryo from them. Maybe you should just let us know. It's like with respect to embryo freezing right now.
Mhm.
Do they have to go through IVF, or is something that will be inside them? They just pick the embryos and go and freeze.
Okay,
Because some
so
people could actually just imagine.
so when embryos are frozen, like I said, the process of bringing them back is embryo thawing. So it's like there's some thaw, you freeze our foods at home, you thaw them or you defrost them as in
Hmm.
some words. So in the embryology world is thawing. So you don't just pick the embryos and put them inside. No, the woman will be prepared,
Okay.
because yes, she'll be prepared. It can be
Hmm.
done over her natural cycle, and she can be prepared where exogenous progesterone,
Medications are
estrogen
given.
are
Yeah.
administered to
Okay.
prepare the womb to receive the embryos. So
Embryos.
these
Okay.
embryos on the day of so the process is the frozen embryo transfer that will be done for
Okay.
her.
Oh wow.
Yes, she will undergo what we call a frozen embryo transfer,
Transfer.
where the
Okay.
embryos will be thawed and
Mm.
then observed. You give them some time to recover. They're back,
Okay.
and then the embryos are
Are
transferred back to
transferred.
the
Mm.
woman for pregnancy
To happen.
to
Wow.
happen. Yeah,
That's so it means that also for you to also generate these embryos, person has to go through IVF before you generate the embryos. Because
definitely,
okay,
because the
because
for the
some people
oocyte
might
to be
just think
retrieved.
that the embryo is automatically in them. So you
No, no,
just
no,
come. I
no.
want to come and do I want
No,
to freeze my
like from the
embryos.
initial definition, I said the
Yeah.
embryo is a product of fertilization
Mm.
between the egg and the sperm.
Okay.
So when that happens, zygote is formed. So the development of the zygote is what you refer to as embryo, and
Mm.
they are in different stages. It could be the day three, eight cell embryo development, or the day five, which is the blastocyst. So that process has to happen before you have an embryo. So you don't just come to the hospital and say remove the embryo. No, it
And
does
they'll
not
say,
work like
okay,
that.
this is my
This is
fertile
I'm
period,
here
and
to
then I've met with my
no,
husband, so I think now embryo would have formed. So let them pick it up. So it
no.
means for you to actually have embryos frozen, you have to go through IVF. They have to do egg collection for you if you are about that age, or and then sperm collection for your husband as well, and they have to fertilize them outside. That's why we say it's IVF, and then the embryos are frozen. Well, it's this is just a very, very amazing topic to talk about, and to see that technology has made it so easy that you could actually have all this at your disposal when you want, how you want it. Yes, better at a younger age, and then later, wherever, whenever it is you're ready, you could actually have it. But I think it's actually a welcome technology. So I think this might be my last question. Is it possible to transport these frozen embryos? Have you had incidents where people transport this
Yeah,
frozen
yeah, yeah,
embryo
yeah.
from one part of,
Yes, yes,
I
yes.
mean, from one place to
Yes,
another?
yes, it's possible to transfer embryos. Embryos is standard practice done all over the world,
Oh,
where
wow.
embryos
Okay.
are being transported
Mm,
from US, from
okay.
UK,
Mm,
from Qatar.
okay.
Yes, embryos are being transferred. So, as a patient, for example, probably maybe you're residing in the UK,
Okay.
and after a while you moved back to Nigeria, or you had something to do in Nigeria,
Yeah.
and you'll be here for a long period of time, and you desire to get pregnant during that time, you can request for your embryos to be transferred to your desired clinic,
Wow.
yes, in Nigeria, and to be done. If it's Nigeria and you want it shipped to the UK, to US, yes,
Yeah.
we
It
receive
could be done.
embryos from practically all over the world, and the embryos will be received. You preserve them too, and when the patient is ready to
Ready.
have them
Wow.
frozen embryo transfer, the embryos
Hmm.
are being taught. So yes,
Wow.
embryos can be shipped all over the world. Yes, there are
Hmm.
different
That's
practices,
amazing.
including sperms too. Not just,
Hmm.
it's not restricted to embryo. Even oocytes can be shipped.
Wow.
Yes,
Wow.
you can
Hmm.
receive all these gametes. Yes,
That's
from different
amazing.
parts of the world, and whenever the couples are ready to use it, they come to the facility, and then the treatment is being done depending on what you receive, whether the sperm, embryo, or the oocytes. So whichever one you can actually receive them,
Wow.
and then it works that way. Yes.
Hmm. Technology. Well, so this has really been a very interesting topic to talk about, because I know that there's just a lot you've learned about embryo freezing. Well, as we wrap up, what would be, do you have something to say to the public with regards to embryo freezing, or about their mindset? Yes, because some people actually have this notion that why would you want to place an embryo? Because some people even feel embryos are babies. I mean, I'm sure there are times they'll say, some people will ask questions, when are they, when they are trying to ask when embryo transfer will be, when are they going to put
Getting
back
it
the
to put
babies?
it.
So
So
some people will feel like, so how can you just place the baby's life on hold? And so I'm sure there are some people that are even against embryo freezing and all of that.
yeah,
So
some people may be against it, but when you look at it, God has given us everything we need. The
mm,
brain is to come up with these discoveries and make life easy for men, for man or human. As daily we encounter different challenges,
yeah,
it's something that early in the early years of embryology, it looks not practical, but it's something that is being done all over the world and is achievable. So for those that have different challenges, there are options. Come out, seek help. It's readily available there, and try and access these services, and take good advantage of it. So for many people that are wishing that, okay, embryo, we tell them, is potential babies. If you
so they are
have them
not, they are not,
anywhere,
they are not living beings
they are
per
not living
se.
beings per se. So potential babies, they can become babies, and they
Yeah.
may not become
Exactly, because a
babies.
lot of IVF
So
fails. So,
a lot of IVF fails.
and
Yes.
if you are putting live baby, you should be expecting that automatically
Okay,
all of
automatically,
them should
exactly.
become
So they are
pregnancy.
potential babies, and
Mm,
they should be open minded. I'm
mm,
sure you know the religion and cultural aspect of Africa is something you cannot move from our history and everything, but should be open minded. And this is something, if you know this is something you are capable of assessing, of course, why not go for it? Why
yeah,
not? Why wait and suffer in vain when there are options and
yeah.
alternatives to make
Mm.
life easy for you and your partner? Of course.
Yeah, and then yes, for yeah, and sometimes there are some people that they know now that, maybe for instance they've seen the doctor, and the doctor has told them that they have blocked tubes, so they automatically know that if not divine intervention, they practically have to do IVF to
Yes.
achieve pregnancy. And then you're seeing this person now, you're telling this person that okay, the person has generated embryos at this age, and you're telling the person to freeze, and they are saying no, they just want to try this. And prospect that as a woman ages, yes, eggs
The
actually
quality
decline.
of
And
eggs,
then
yeah.
the best option is you are seeing embryos that are good enough for freezing. And some of them, so I is worrisome. Sometimes some of them will say maybe because of financial constraints. But I think it's something that if people set their minds to
Yes,
actually
I
do,
can actually do it, yeah.
sometimes it's worrisome when you hear some of them say, don't, when the time come again, we'll try again. But it saves you as a woman the
Yes, it
stress,
saves a lot of stress,
because if you
yes.
have frozen embryos, you don't have to go through the whole
Process.
severe issues.
Mm,
Like I mean, the process involved is really a rigorous process.
yeah.
Yes, even though it's tolerable, but
Yeah. And the
it's
financial aspect is less when you have a frozen
exactly,
embryo
that's
transfer. So
a point I think they
it's
actually don't
it's
look
people
into.
just opening their mind to different possibilities that
Hmm.
they can achieve. Yes.
Well, so viewers, there's just a lot about embryo freezing. Keep your questions coming, and we'll definitely attend to them. It's really been a good time with you, Mr. Steven.
Thank you very
Thank you for
much.
such an insightful session. And
Thank
dear
you.
viewers, thank you for staying glued to your screen. Thank you for always liking and commenting. We appreciate you all. Cannot exhaust all the names, so we'd rather not even list it. But thank you guys. You guys are the real deal. So this will be the end of today's session. Until we come your way next time, have a lovely evening. Bye.